And here we are, 6th grade, Odin's Day, L103, multiplying and dividing integers. So we actually front-loaded this not too long ago, and I'm glad that we did because this is a really important idea that we must move forward on. You're going to make this little kind of graphic for me. Hopefully you can interpret that first one as a positive times a positive. Then I want you to draw a negative times a negative. Leave a little bit of space. Let's go a positive times a negative. And then a negative times a positive. And the way that multiplication and division work in the world of integers is we group these first two together and we call them, do you remember? Yeah, that's right. Good. We call them like signs. Like signs. Why? Well, because a positive and a positive are alike, or a negative and a negative are alike. And the result of like sign multiplication is always, always, always a positive. Yeah. So even this might feel strange to you, but because a negative times a negative is considered like signs, then the result we know will be a positive. Conversely, we group these two together as, I bet you can guess, called unlike signs. Right? They're unlike because a positive and a negative is not the same. They are unlike, or a negative and a positive. So when I have a positive times a negative, if you remember from when we talked about this, we know, or a negative times a positive, we know the result will always, I messed up there. The result will always, always, always be a negative. The result will always be a negative, right? So a positive times a negative is a negative, or a negative times a positive. So just some basic examples. What if I had 4 times, let's say, 8? Well, positive 4 times positive 8. Positive 4 times positive 8. What if I had negative 3 times negative 2? Negative times a negative. Another example might be 5 times negative 4. Or what if I had a negative 3 times just 9? Well, again, when I look at this 4 times 8, I know that's a positive times a positive, and clearly, I mean, you knew that 4 times 8 was already positive 32 anyways. We don't really need this new rule for it. However, the second example is kind of new. So a negative 3 times a negative 2. Well, again, a negative times a negative yields a positive. So I know that that's going to be simply positive 6. When we move into the unlike sign world, such as a positive times a negative, or a positive 5 times a negative 4, we know it'll always yield a negative. So that will be simply negative, and then I just do the numbers, negative 20. Or the same here, where I have a negative times a positive. A negative 3 times a positive 9, yielding a negative, and then I just do the numbers. 3 times 9 is clearly 27. And yeah, that's just how it works. The good thing, though, and this is kind of cool, is it works exactly the same for division. So we would look at the first two, and we'd group those together as like signs, like sign division, if you will. And just like sign multiplication, like sign division always ends in a positive. So if I have a positive divided by a positive is a positive, or even a negative divided by a negative is a positive. Why? Well, because it's like signs. This grouping we know is called unlike sign division. And so if I have a positive divided by a negative, clearly a negative divided by a positive, clearly a negative. Some examples. If I had positive 48 divided by positive 12, a positive divided by 12, by another positive. Or what if I had negative 6 divided by negative 2? Again, negative divided by a negative. What if I had a positive 25 divided by a negative 5? Okay. What if I had a negative 12 divided by a positive 4? Well, if we look at the green example, we know that that's a positive by a positive, and the result is clearly a positive 4, that is. When we look at the next one, we have a negative divided by a negative. That's this, negative divided by a negative. It's like sign division, therefore it will yield a positive result. And so negative 6 divided by negative 2 is clearly positive 3. Here in this next example, we're looking at unlike signs, where I've got a positive 25 divided by a negative 5, and therefore that's a positive divided by a negative. That's unlike signs, therefore it will result in a negative, therefore negative 5. In the last example, I got a negative divided by a positive, negative 12 divided by positive 4. That's a negative divided by a positive. That's unlike sign division, therefore the result is simply negative. Now, here's the thing. This can be confused with something that I'm not even mentioning in this lesson, because I want you to compartmentalize. How we deal with addition and subtraction is very different than how we deal with multiplication and division. Multiplication and division share this like sign, unlike sign. We don't even discuss the image for the other one because I don't want you to confuse them, but you have to compartmentalize. This is how we deal with multiplication and division. The other is how we deal with addition and subtraction. And so I know that you're paying attention. When you're done with your lesson, I want you to go on to Google Classroom like you guys did the other day. Thank you. And I want you to put, what is the other thing that I'm not mentioning? Because I don't want it to happen here. But because I want you to stay here. Like sign, unlike sign. Hey, we've got some try this. And I think the best way to deal with this is just to practice it. So what you're going to do is you're going to pause me. You're going to get answers for all of these. Write them in your notes. Now remember, if you come up with the wrong answer once the revelation has begun, you should erase it. These are notes. You should erase it and fix it. But I'm going to ask you to pause and do all A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. And when you come back, you'll see the answers. So pause me in 1, 2, 3. And you're back. The revelation has begun. Clearly in the first one, it's unlike sign multiplication. Therefore, the result is negative 32. In the second one, it is like sign multiplication. Therefore, the result is positive 6. Next one is unlike sign division. Therefore, the result is negative 6. Next one is, well, it's kind of a funny one, but it's like sign multiplication, simply 3. Here we have unlike sign division. We know that yields a result of negative 2. And then again, unlike sign multiplication, I do expect you to know how to multiply fractions. Look, I took my cross-canceling opportunities and I ended up with negative 1/6. And then I have like sign division. Therefore, it's a result of positive 2. And that's about it. A quick one, which is good because the last couple have been a little bit longer. L103, this is Odin's Day. You do have homework 103. We are testing tomorrow. I hope you're well. You can reach out to me anytime. Bye.